375 Arctic Cat. And I don't know. I might have bitten off a little more than I could chew with this one, but hey, you know what? Nothing like a little challenge. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here we go. We got us a 2002 Arctic Cat 375. I know nothing about this thing. Other than the Baja build we just did, I have little to no experience with four-wheelers, but that's alright. That's not going to stop me from trying. I like a challenge, so that's exactly what we're going to do. What I've been told, this little four-wheeler, it does run, or it did run a couple of years ago, as with everything, you know, it ran when parked. What I can tell so far, pull cord is out, and it's tied up, so it must have had electric, you know, the starter must have been working, because why else would the pull cord be tied up, you know. Tires are down, you know, what a shocker. So it's got some corrosion. It's all surface, it looks like, nothing too serious. It's missing this panel right here. Actually it was there. I think it flew off flying down the road. I didn't know it was loose, but that's alright. Found a couple of panels on eBay already. So it is a four-wheel drive. I think I mentioned that. Everything looks to be intact. True to form. I do not understand why people do this, but the ignition key is gone. Literally, the ignition key for this thing and the wiring is $10 on eBay and other websites. I don't know why people do that, but whatever. Trail fix, who knows? So I did order one of those. This whole housing is cracked right here, so I ordered a new one of those. So I'm going to track down this wiring, get this wiring out of here. You know, I want it to be stock. I don't want secondhand wiring on this. I just feel like they work better when you leave them like they're supposed to be. So to do that, I got to take this panel off. All this got to come off. I'm going to take the tank off so I can get access to the harness. And I want to see if it turns over. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the coil, the recoil off right here for your pull start. I'm going to pull that off and see if I can get it to turn over. See what I'm up against there, and then you know, I'll get started on the rest of it. Then I'll start tearing it down. So that's the first thing. I'll go ahead and pull this cover off. This cover off right here. See if I can get it to recoil. See if I can get it to turn over. See if it's not stuck. And you know, we'll go from there. He said it had a rod knock. He thinks. The other thing he said was that he's a mechanic, you know, and he didn't tell me that when I first reached out for him. I didn't pay nothing hardly for it, so it's not a big deal. But his brother owned it. His brother's a mechanic, and he just lost interest in it. That always makes every hair on the back of my neck stand up, because if a mechanic had it and they gave up on it, you know, what am I getting? But you know what? They're people just like everybody. They get tired of messing with stuff. They don't have time to. It sits in the back corner and, you know, gets forgot about, which is obviously the case with this thing. It was literally sitting in the garage for, I think he said, 2 years. So anyway, one of the things I was reading when I was studying up on this thing, which in my opinion is the key to diagnosing problems, is that the secondary clutches on these, the pulley tends to come loose and it sounds like a rod knock in the engine. So I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that that's the case on this, that maybe it's just that bolt is loose and making it sound like a rod knock. But from what his brother said, as soon as he heard that, he just said, "Out of heck with it," and lost interest. So hopefully it's just something simple. You know, sometimes it is. Thing only has 2,000 miles on it, so. $2,063 miles, so I'm not imagining it could be too much wrong with it, you know. But again, looking at it, it wasn't exactly maintained to the highest standard, so you just never know until you get in there. So we're going to clean it up, see how this one shakes out. Stay tuned. Got the pull cord untied. Looks like it's an 8mm on this cover. And of the 4, there are 2 bolts in here. That didn't sound good. I don't know if you heard that, but I never like this metallic sounds. It's usually never good. Yeah. So the inner plastic housing here is cracked pretty bad. That's kind of a bummer. It might still be usable. I'm gonna give it a whirl anyway. We'll certainly give it a shot. After a bit of a wrestling match, I got the recoil back in here. Just on the long end goes here. It's easier just to pull it tight, and then fit it in this ring here. Now that that's on there, I'm gonna wind this up and then put it back on. But this is cracked pretty bad, so I'm not expecting it to work very well. But if we can get a couple pulls out of it. Back on. Again, it's pretty well toasted. The plastic is broken, so I'm gonna have to order a new piece. Neutral. Alright, so it does turn over. And as you can see, most of my recoil is stuck out again. But I kind of figured that was going to happen. So at least we know it'll turn over. That's good news. Give you guys an update on what I've done. So we did get the cover off. I went ahead and rolled it over here on the tarp. It's a couple days later after I shot the last part. I had to order some parts. I went ahead and ordered a recoil. And I ordered an ignition switch, and I've removed the ignition housing, which is somewhere over here in this pile. Anyway, I don't know where it's at. Oh, that's right, it didn't have one. So, and then this is the speedometer. Interesting thing, when you take the housing off, right, this would be part of the cover that I'm replacing with the ignition, and then the speedometer is actually mounted on top of that cover. So when I pulled this out, you normally would take the speedometer off right here, and then this wire would come out, which has obviously the light bulb in it. And when I did that, would you look at that? That's nice, huh? So, safe to say, true mileage unknown. Who knows how long that's been disconnected, cut, whatever, yeah, or why. I'm not real sure why they would do that. Anyway, so that's where we're at. What I'm going to be doing today is I need to get this whole front section off. I started to take this rack off, and then some of these bolts, like right here, this one is broken, and then this one here. But it looks like once this is disconnected from underneath, from these bolts here, which are actually already disconnected, once you get, you know, all of these bolts off, and then, well, you know, these clips, I think if I go around the whole front of the thing and take those out, I should be able to bring this whole piece off in one shot. This side cover, like the other side cover, I didn't realize till I got it home, was only really held on with zip ties, which is not a problem if I know that. This is cracked right here. It's actually still okay, so I may do some plastic welding on that. Anyway, once I get these off, I'll have access to the wiring, so I can. Man, I hope that the ignition is still, or the wiring is still intact, that it didn't just get cut. I know that's a lot to hope for, but if it's not, that'll be nice to be able just to plug the new ignition switch in there. That I ordered off of Evil Bay, as Vice Grip Garage likes to call it. And yeah, anyway, that's where we're at. Alright guys, so I unhooked. I took the nut out of here because I don't think I need to have this out yet. I disconnected this one, and it's hard to see. I took this one out and these two out. So this one was a little difficult. I had to use the vice grips on it. It's basically the same thing on the other side, and then it looks like, if I'm lucky, it looks like this whole front piece should come off. So, okay, my shifter's stuck in there. For the shifter, the knob was just pressed on here, and then you pop this little plastic fitting out, and then it allows the shift knob to come up. So, the front cover off, which gave me access to the wiring I needed, and look at that. There is my plug for my ignition switch. I'm very happy about that. I hope the wind isn't too bad. When I first pulled this off, I was like, oh no. Let me show you my fitting here. I was like, oh no, that's a different fitting. And then I realized that somebody had pulled the pins out. So it actually plugs right in. Pretty nice. So that'll be good. I have an ignition switch, so that's awesome. Or I should anyway. Downside is this, for some reason, this plug, this must have been a lot longer. Maybe it got shortened down, I'm really not sure. So I'm going to be adding about 2 feet of wire, so that this will, well, maybe not that much, maybe a foot of wire, so that that'll reach all the way up here. So, but that's good news. I went ahead, and so far I just have these out of the way. I did pull this cover over to the side just for right now. I am going to take this all the way off, just so I have more access, and so that I have clean access there. And actually, with this side cover off, I have a lot better access to the carburetor, because I'm certain that's going to have to be cleaned. So, not too bad. So far, so good. We're going to go ahead and get a battery in here. I want to see what happens if I put a little starting fluid in here and a good battery, see if it'll pop off without having to be jumped. I'm not overly optimistic, but I am hopeful. Are those the same thing? I don't know. Anyway, so let's just stand by. I'll get this battery in here and we'll go from there. Don't know if y'all can see that or not. Little baby alligator there coming to watch me work. Right there in the middle of the screen. A little too curious for my taste, but what are you going to do? Got that going. No, this time I'm not getting any spark. Let's see if I can figure out why that is. What I'm gonna do right now, I should always do before I get too deep into working on something. The problem with this one, and the reason I didn't do it, because just pretty much like everything I do, if somebody tells me it runs, I just believe them. You saw that even though I was putting some ether in there, starting fluid, I didn't get any fire at all. So I just want to do a real quick compression check on this thing and make sure you know what we're working with. And so that's what we're doing right now. So let's go ahead and get this hooked up and we'll go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and get a compression check on this thing. It says to do this, you need to have wide open throttle, and the minimum compression needs to be 63 on a 375, 400, or 500. So let's get a look. And you need to have at least 5 full revolutions. So I did that with full throttle, and it looks like we're about what, 100? Yeah, just below 100 psi, which is actually above what's accepted, the maximum. So we're in good shape on compression, which is a nice surprise. So now that I got compression, I can keep going and see if I can figure out why I don't have spark, or I have spark, but why I don't have combustion. So I'm probably, since we did that, I'm going to go ahead and take the carb off and get it soaking. And in the meantime, I'll look for some reason why we're not getting any ignition. I know that the, you know, this switch here is pretty suspect, and they usually are, because it, you know, they get exposed. But the only reason I'm not really diving into that right now is because I got nothing. I mean, even this is the controller for the winch. Nothing's happening there, so that makes me think I got a ground issue or something like that, because I just tested the spark again, and I had a nice firm spark because I shocked myself again. That's how I know. So let's just go ahead and get this carb off, and we'll go from there. Let it soak for a while. I'm going to go ahead and take the oh my god, the bowl off, and make sure that the float is working properly and the needleless seat is free. So that's what was happening. The needle and seat was stuck, so it wasn't allowing fuel or starting fluid into the intake. So I'm going to take that apart and get it soaking, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to see if I can track down why the start switch is not working. So we'll be back in a bit. So I think it's pretty safe to say that this was pretty well clogged up. I don't know what that nastiness is. It almost looks like mix. This is not a mix fuel four-wheeler, so I'm not real sure what all this is. I can tell you, pretty nasty stuff. So anyway, my needle and seat is definitely not going all the way. It is now, but it certainly wasn't letting anything, and nothing would have got through there anyway. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to pop this out, these two, and then let this all soak and see if I can get it blown out, sorry. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, get this out. Oh yeah, It's a lot better, huh? Success. I was able, once I removed the carburetor, I was able to get it to fire. Well, even if only momentarily. So that's good. So we have some success. It starts right up now. So that's a good sign. So what I'm going to have to do now is go ahead and I want to add a little bit of gas to the tank here. I got the fuel line right here because I want to see kind of what the fuel looks like that's in this tank. It's a plastic tank. It looks like everything that was in it is gone, but I kind of just want to see because I don't want to put gas in here and then, you know, it just be really nasty, you know, and it could be, even though it's evaporated out of here a long time ago. The petcock lever is not here, so I am going to have to use what? All right. I guess I don't know when it's on. I don't know. All right, let me stop it there, and I don't know. Maybe I need more gas. Let me see. Stand by. All right, so I got some out here. All right, guys, that's going to be it for video number 1 on the Arctic Cat 375 build. Pretty happy with how it's going so far. I mean, we did a lot. Got the carb out, got it clean, found out it not only does it turn over, but it will run. Got all the plastics off the front, got access to the wiring. You know, did a lot of diagnostic on it so far. Not obviously where we want to be 100%, but hey, stay tuned, hit the notifications, maybe hit the subscribe button. Every little bit helps at this point, and my channel's still growing, brand new to the whole YouTube world, so every little bit helps, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.